Alright boys, welcome back to game number 10 in this, I want to say 11 game series, but I'll come back to that. In this series between TyRanT BacT and SY Licks. So let's unpause the game, let's turn Fog of War off, and let's jump straight into it. Now as you can see, or as you might have been able to see from just before, the map is indeed Nomad, so I'm not going to start having a wee yarn about anything until the players have chucked down their TCs and we can see where they're starting to build up their economies and their bases. But what I was mentioning before, I know all of the introductions to these videos have been, oh, it's a best of 11 series, it's an 11 game series, and while that was kind of true, I was just recording a game before, and it was it was a Korean mirror matchup on Arabia. And unfortunately, must have been a drop or something like that, and the two players didn't restore. Um, so while on AOC's own it did say that it was 11 games, it's actually only 10. Now the score sits currently at 5-4 in favor of TyRanT BacT, and this looks like they're going to try and TC rush each other, but it's actually going to end up either 6-4, in which case BacT would have won the best of 11 series anyway, or it'll go to 5-5 and it'll just have to be a draw because of that dropped game. But in saying that, let's have a look at what's going on in this game, because the two guys are now chucking down their TCs, and we can see they are pretty much, or they're literally almost in the same place. Lick's chucking up a dock as well. Don't exactly know. He's doing it down here. Excellent. Lick's doing a dock down on the south of the map. Now what we have is we have a Frank mirror matchup on Nomad. So it's going to be quite interesting. Obviously Nomad games or Nomad matches can get pretty gosh darn messy, just for the fact that they can start in very, very close proximity to each other, as we can see here. Now BacT rather, playing in the red, obviously, as the Franks here in this part of the map, and his opponent Licks playing in the blue as the Franks in this part of the map. Very, very close and very, very, very dangerous for both of these players here. Now, Licks has already chucked up his dock down in the south of the map. I can't see BacT actually having thrown up a dock yet, and that's quite interesting. He did manage to get his town centre up a little bit quicker, which is why he will be a little bit further ahead, at least in the early game, in this very, very early game, in terms of villages. We can see 5 villages right now for BacT, and the 5th villager going to be popping out. There we go. Right now for Licks, so he's a little bit ahead of Licks in terms of that, but it really is negligible at this stage anyway. Now, in terms of food and all that such stuff, it looks like both of these guys have more or less missed their spot. Here would have been a nice spot for a TC, even though it is next to the water. But yeah, both these guys here are quite kind of looking a little bit sparse on the food. BacT has managed to find one sheep, but that's going to be run through pretty gosh darn quick, and now he's deciding to build a dock. I mean, it's not the worst area. He does have 2 big fish sitting right here as well, but perhaps on this peninsula here would have been, well, in fact, this peninsula here would have been much better for him, in my opinion. He can see there is going to be quite a lot of deep water out here, but he's just been really unlucky in the fact that the deep water has not correlated with a lot of deep fish in this case here. Licks, on the other hand, he's sort of in the same kind of boat sort of thing. He does have a lot of water again. Obviously, he can see that the land only extends this far. The rest of this is probably going to be deep sea, and in his case, he is also correct. And it looks like he's actually kind of, his gather point's really close to this big fish. That's quite impressive. He's going to have a lot more access. He's going to have access to a lot more deep water fish than his opponent, but either way, up here would have been the prime spot for fish. I mean, this peninsula right here, all the steep fish would have been so good. But neither of them have gone ahead and done it, and that's just, it's just the way that it is. That's the way the cookie crumbles, as they say. Both of them have been forced to research Loom now as well, since their TCs were falling idle from the lack of food. Now, in saying that, we did see Licks actually luring one of his deer, or a deer rather, with one of his villagers here. BacT having found a boar as well. Not exactly sure where he picked that little puppy up from, but he has managed to find a boar, and so has Licks as well. So this is going to supplement their food income just a little bit as well. But the sheep has actually not been found very much at all I heard an arrow shot. Why did I hear an arrow shot? Is he luring a boar? Yep. Back to, sorry, Lix is luring a boar from a long, long way away, but with loom and potentially a sneaky wee sheep block here as well. Nope, that sheep's just going to go scouting. Maybe BacT's going to help out with a villager block. Yeah, BacT sort of helping out a wee bit there, but now Lix knows, now BacT knows rather, that Lix has got to be buzzing around in this sort of area, and that's another really good point. Do either player know where the other one is? And the answer is that Lix does not know where BacT is, and BacT knows exactly where Lix is. BacT scouting paying off in dividends here. He can see the chopped trees, he can see the carcasses of the boar, he knows exactly where his opponent is, which means that this stone, for example, is going to play quite a heavy role in this game because trushing could be very, very viable. In this case, especially if BacT decides to go for a fast feudal, chucking up some towers around Lix's little encampment here could be absolutely huge for him. In saying that, Lix is sending out a scouting village, and now he can see this house, so he thinks, okay, well, maybe BacT's around here, especially since he can sort of triangulate the position, and yet now he knows where BacT is. He knows exactly where he is. He's seen the villager luring a boar back into this completely unexplored area. He's got a villager. Oh, she's. Oh man, BacT's got a villager hunting Lix's villager down. We can see a villager war coming in here. Is it gonna pay off? Is anything gonna happen here? Or are they just gonna play? They're just gonna play cops and robbers. Yet the first hit goes to Lix. I'm pretty sure he got the hill advantage at the start. Is this micro gonna be able to up? Is he? No, he's not gonna keep microing. He might have been able to take that fight, but I don't think he was paying too much attention. But there's a bit of a villager scuffle out there, and now they both know where each other is, and Lick's doing the right thing. Lick's starting to wall off a little bit here as well, and I guess now that Lick knows what's going on, he might try and change his strategy to go for a fast feudal and try and take control of this stone and really start to put the pressure on BacT in terms of towers, trying to zone him off these wood lines, and also any villagers that come out of his TC are going to be in a pretty nasty position as well. Palisade wall coming up for Lick, so I assume that's just a scouting one to see whether he can spot any villagers that might be coming down, but BacT doing the right thing, starting to wall off this portion of the map here as well, taking the initiative and really starting to put Lix in his place. I can still hear that villager fight going on, and it looks like, oh, I honestly don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to say the guy's going to win. Yeah, Lix is getting out of there. That hillbone is just acting too much in BacT's favor. But BacT doing the right thing here, walling off this part of the map, keeping himself nice and safe. And he is going to be able to take a little bit of this wood here, the stone here as well, as he sends a sneaky villager through. Is he going to try and lame the deer? Is that what's going on here from BacT? No, he's going to try and snipe this villager here, but no, Lix is going to get that villager away nice and safe, and BacT, yeah, he's going to go ahead and lame this deer, and is he going to take a little bit of food? Nope, he's just going to completely and utterly lame it, so well done for him, but Lix is hunting down this other male villager here. For some reason, this might have been the one that was actually fighting the female villager of Lix, because he is on pretty low HP, and Lix has actually decided to stop. And the reason for that is that Lix is going to go ahead and start walling off. BacT probably going to do the same. Yep, so now we're starting to see the divisions. We're starting to see what Trump really wanted from his presidency. We're starting to see a crap ton of walls coming up. Lix trying to lure in this third, fourth, fifth, I don't know. One of these extra balls here as well, as he sends some villagers out to this sort of plateau area. Maybe he's going to move down and start taking this stone and gold. He knows exactly where it is. That gold, is that the closest one to him? Yep, it looks like it's the closest, or the safest, or the only one that he's actually scouted. He knows that BacT is zoning off this area of the map as well, so maybe he knows that BacT could be planning on doing some sneaky business with some towers, in which case moving a mining camp down to this area as well as a mill to get all this juicy deer, probably not the worst idea because he can fall back to the stone and throw up defensive towers for himself if he needs to. Now, either player up to the feudal age, well, not quite, but once the mill and or the mining camp comes up, Lix is going to be able to click up. There we go. Lix is up to the feudal age. What is he going to be doing in the feudal age? I don't think rushing is really going to be on the cards here for either of them, since neither of them know, A, that the other person, or the other player is actually on the water, although they can probably assume that quite comfortably, or B, they don't actually know where the other person's fish is if they assume that they are actually on the water. So grushing maybe not going to happen. BacT, he's still got a villager buzzing around here, throwing up a second dock, and he is now also putting up some walls, trying to zone, or trying to keep Trying to keep Licks nice and safe, which is really kind of him, but I don't really think that's what's actually going on here at all. Now what's BacT doing is moving 3 villages over. Is he going to start going over to take this stone? That is my question. Or is he going to move out to the gold and try and go for a fast castle off the back of all of these nice, delicious, nutritious fish? Looks like he's going to be moving to the gold. 3 villages makes sense for a fast castle build. Can we see a mining camp come down BacT, or are you just going to long distance mine it? No. Efficiency is the name of the game here, and he's going to be throwing down a mining camp, which is exactly what we like to see. Both players having gone up on relatively high populations, 29 for Lix, obviously having clicked up to the feudal age a little bit quicker than his opponent, but BacT also has, he's nearing the place with all the lovely, lovely fishes. Maybe a little bit further around here would have been better for him, but there is a trapped villager here from Lix as well, so that's going to be one villager down, essentially, that Lix is having idle, but we can see a fast castle build coming in here for SY Lix. Really, really nice build. We have a market blacksmith coming down and a watchtower to boot, and this is going to be huge. Zoning, well, it's not going to be huge, but it's going to zone BacT off this wood line here and force him to just move back here and maybe oversaturate it and knock down the efficiency of his lumberjacks as well. What else is going on? Well, BacT is now moving his villager around, so he knows that Lix is taking gold down in the south of the map. Lix, I imagine yep, market blacksmith is up already, and Lix has clicked up to the castle age, and he's going to be in there in a sub 20 minutes, which is quite nice for a Nomad map, if I may say so. Now here we go, the watchtower is up for Lix as well. We can see that BacT has had to relocate. It's not game ending. It's just a bit of a nuisance, really, a bit of a pain in the neck for BacT having to relocate his lumberjacks out to this lumber camp here as opposed to the one right next to his TC. But that was always going to happen when Lix was up to the feudal age first, and also being able to put up that watchtower first as well. Mining some extra stone here as well. A few weak villages in here. Maybe a watchtower here could be quite damaging if BacT was to decide to do it. Maybe pick off a village or two here. But of course, we probably won't see that coming in. He could click on these villages here, get in the line of sight from the palisade walls, but BacT probably going to want to keep that stone for extra town centers and not have to devote villages to mining extra stone. So there's not much else happening really. This villager here from Lix is still standing idle. I mean, he could come over here and just batter down this 18 HP wall, but for whatever reason, he's not planning on going ahead and doing that. Maybe he's going to be wanting to plonk down a TC here once he gets to the castle age, or maybe there's actually a freaking hole there. Did not realize there was a hole there, but I guess what Zero Empires always says, there is always a hole, is indeed true. Now, it looks like BacT down here actually was trying to go ahead and put up a watchtower on this gold mining operation for Lix, but Lix is putting a pretty quick, smart stop to that. And there's quite a few villagers actually out here on gold for SY Lix, so it'll be interesting to see what he does decide to do. That many villagers maybe says a monk rush, but I don't particularly know too much about Nomad strategy, so it will be interesting to see what he goes ahead and does. Now we can see Borosaur and Wheelbarrow coming in and an outpost to get a little bit more map vision as well, and BacT actually going ahead and chucking around some galleys, and that is something that I completely missed. And BacT has still not scouted out toward the south of the map with these galleys, but fire ships coming out from Lix having thrown up an extra dock here as well. These fire ships that are coming up from him are going to put him in a really, really nice position to be able to take some water control. Obviously, these galleys here with no fletching having been done on them are not going to pose much of a threat to those fire ships from Lix at all. We don't see any extra town centers coming up from Lix, and the reason for that is he simply doesn't have the wood. BacT, on the other hand, when he gets up, he's going to be able to throw down an extra town center right off the bat. Instead, he decides to go ahead and throw down a monastery first. He doesn't have a heck of a lot of villagers out on gold, so he's not going to be able to sustain, really, really heavy monks or anything like that, or rather heavy monk production. But at the same time, a few monks here, a few monks there, grabbing some relics, preparing for the late game. Always a nice idea. Bearing in mind that these guys are actually the Franks as well, so we're probably going to be seeing something along the lines of either Helb hand cannons in the late game, or in the Castle Age, early to mid Castle Age, maybe some night raiding coming in as well. Although both of these guys do actually have do actually have walls up to protect their economies and keep themselves nice and safe in that respect. So maybe Knight's not going to be so much of a possibility here. An extra town centre coming up for BacT now as well, so he's going to start pulling ahead just a little bit in terms of villages. And in fact, we can already see that he's on 39 villages as opposed to the 25 of Licks. Again, it's just a fire ship battle, as always happens in Nomad wars when you want to go ahead and in Nomad maps rather, when you want to go ahead and do a fast castle. We see a lot of fire ships because they're just so much stronger than galleys, and you haven't really invested too much of your economy into going ahead and going for a huge crush if you've done a fast castle. So fire ships coming out thick and fast, more or less what we expect to see on these sorts of maps on the water. Now Lex throws up a monastery as well, probably looking to get out, well, obviously looking to get out some monks, whether it be to, go ahead and grab some relics or to go for a monk and siege push. We'll have to wait and see, but I don't imagine that the monk and siege option is going to be too heavily on either of these guys' minds, keeping an eye on their resources. Neither of them looking like they're going to do some crazy fast castle kind of thing as well. But bearing in mind that BacT, Lix is trying to push through these palisade walls of BacT here, and it looks like he might be wanting to place down a castle. Obviously, Frankish castles costing only 488 stone, if I'm not so mistaken, so he'll be able to plonk down a castle here, or maybe somewhere a little bit more aggressive, maybe on this plateau here, and be able to start putting a lot of pressure on certain key areas of BacT's economy. For the time being, nothing is really happening. BacT selling and buying a few more resources, probably looking to throw up an extra town centre, and there we go, another town centre coming up here toward the north of the map for this wood line. And that's actually another really, really good point. From what I can remember, there should be 6 gold piles and 6 stone piles on a Nomad map. So let's have a quick look and see where they are. We can see 1 gold pile here. We can see another one here, so that's 2. We have 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, in terms of resource placement, BacT is in a hugely advantageous position. Lix, obviously, in terms of gold, has only access to this gold, whereas BacT has access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pretty much all the other extra golds are under BacT's control at the moment. And in terms of stone, I hate trying to find stone, but there's one there, there's one there, one there, and there's one there. Obviously, there's one there as well. And there we go, the castle coming up on the hill now for Lix, and this is going to be quite nice for him because it is going to put a lot of pressure on this area of BacT's economy. And BacT, I mean, he does have quite a bit of space to fall back to, which is what we can see here. Some villagers moving out to start taking stone as well. But BacT is going to be in an okay position to be able to still boom up behind all of this and throwing up a barracks in probably in anticipation for any, I don't know, throwing axemen or any such units like that that might be coming out from Lix. He's just preparing. He's just getting the preparations ready, such that he's not caught short and can't even produce military from any such buildings. We can see a siege workshop coming in now for Lix as well. So Lix looks like it's going to be the old monk and siege push. It would be cool if we could see some throwing axemen mixed in as well, just to continue the pressure. But for the time being, it doesn't look like that's going to happen at all. BacT also looks like he's dominating on the water, but for the time being, when you've got your extra town centers up and you've got enough wood income to sustain farms, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, it would be nice if you could keep your fish and all that sort of stuff, but in terms of keeping your TCs running and not falling idle, you're not going to be in a game-ending position if you can't um, keep your fish alive. And a stable coming up now here for BacT as well. So maybe he's had enough. Maybe he wants to start going a wee bit aggressive and start putting out some damage on his opponent. Obviously, this castle, like we've said, does zone up this portion of BacT's economy, but he still has a huge space back here to boom in. He's got access to 5 of the 6 gold piles. Although in saying that, Lix is starting to push out here now and start mining one of them. But yeah, BacT still is going to have a lot more of gold as the game progresses, especially. Oh, sorry, no, that's Lix that has the relic. Lix is going ahead and collecting the relics as well, which is something that BacT is failing to do at this time. And does BacT know that Lix is mining this gold? No, he doesn't, because technically he didn't actually know it existed until just now when his monks have now shown him the way, have shown him the light, and now BacT can do whatever he wants to those villagers. He can go ahead and convert them, or he can kill them with the knights, or scouts rather, that he might be creating. The scout not going to be used for aggressive purposes, potentially only for what its name would suggest, and to go ahead and start scouting scouting the map, and one conversion coming in here as well. Each of these monks, there's one monk left that can get a conversion left on these villages, but Lick's doing the right thing and moving his villagers away from, well, not harm's way, but he's moving his villagers the heck out of there and not giving BacT any more free villagers. Second relic coming back now for Lix as well, so he's going to be in a nice position the longer this game goes in terms of passive gold income. So what is happening now? What is happening? 58 villages to 47 in favor of TyRanT BacT. Either player looking at clicking up? Not really. Neither player is really too close to being able to click up. But we do see a mangonel firing upon this town center of BacT here. It's, I think it'll be fine. It's only one mangonel. It's on level ground with the town center, and BacT does have his own siege workshop up as well, and he's got soon to be three mangonels firing upon, albeit I think this is uphill, firing upon the siege workshop of SY Lix, who's now throwing up a barracks, maybe looking to get out some scouts, maybe looking to get out some knights to help protect against this siege push. And now the scouts make a lot of sense to me, and I can't believe I didn't see this before. That's a really, really nice shot from Lix, but the scouts are going to be able to get up in the face of the mangonels and any rams, and maybe even scorpions if we're lucky enough to be able to do the damage and pick off the siege. But the monks coming in from behind from SY Lix, able to convert the scouts, and then BacT saying, no, those are my horses, and converting the scouts back straight away again. Fireship bullying that house, because why the heck not? And Lix up to the Imperial Age. BacT looks like he's going to be wanting to click up very, very soon as well, not wanting to get stuck behind. Obviously, if your opponent is in the Imperial Age and able to treb down all your buildings, you want to be in the Imperial Age too, to be able to do likewise. So BacT also up to the feudal, to the Imperial Age now as well. Much stronger economy, 65 villages to 50, and he does still have access to a lot of fish, as well as pretty much all of the extra gold piles as well. Stonewalling off this portion of the map and stonewalling here as well means that Lix is going to be in a bit of he's been a bit shafted in terms of gold placement. He's lucky he's got two relics to fall back on, because if he didn't, he would be in a really crappy position when it came to gold income. So we have throwing axemen coming out now as well, and BacT, falling prey to a few mangonel shots here, a few villagers going down in this wood line. This monk showing Neo how it's done and evading all of these mangonel shots as if it's absolutely nothing. Throwing axemen coming in now would be able to quite easily pick that mangonel off, but BacT aware to the danger and moving his butt back. A castle coming up on this hill here for BacT as well. Good placement for the castle, trying to get the hill advantage against your opponent. Always a nice idea and a good plan. And a bit of a mango tango coming in here as well between these two mangonels. Lix forcing the mangonel from BacT away as we wait for the Imperial Age upgrade to kick in, with another castle being thrown down pretty much exactly where the town centre, or just a hop, skip and a jump away from where the town centre was from BacT initially. Again, Frankish castles, 488 stones, makes it a little bit easier to drop them. And we see a university being thrown down for BacT as well. I can only imagine either for fortified wall. I'm unsure whether or not Franks get fortified wall, to be honest. I'm not too familiar with them. That's a really nice mangonel shot from BacT though. It's left pretty much all these throwing axemen on very, very low HP, and the mangonel is going to be able to clean up the rest of it with no problem as well. But I imagine chemistry has got, yep, chemistry coming in for both of these guys, and that's just because Frank walls quite often descend into a Helb hand cannon and sometimes bombard cannon mixture as well. Oftentimes you would think you'd see paladins, but no, because they can be quite heavily countered by Helbs that the Frank civilization can throw out as well. Another castle coming up for BacT on this hill, trying to protect even more areas of his economy. And at the present time, I would say that BacT is still in a pretty good position. A first trib coming out now for SY Lix as well. This castle is going to be under fire, and we might be seeing oh yeah, okay, there's another trebuchet coming out, and sometimes we can sometimes see also throwing axemen, but it looks like in this case the two players are going to be going down either the hand cannon route in order to counter any helbs that might be popping out from either of these guys, or maybe they just want bombard cannons and trebs to start sieging down their opponent's bases. So we'll have to wait and see. Conscription coming through now as well. So we are at least going to start seeing some military production coming out from TyRanT BacT. But at the time, for the time being, I can't see what that would actually be. The scout's still going ham on this mangonel, and I imagine BacT is going to stick in there and pick it off. And one more hit. No, okay, that mangonel, I don't know how the hell it survived. I guess BacT just wanted to get the heck out of there. But this castle here, pretty heavily under fire from 2 trebuchets. I believe that is also a hill advantage in favor of SY Licks. Not enough villagers repairing from BacT, and there we have it. One castle down now as well, as the trebuchet moves its attention to these poor innocent lumber camps, and also the trebuchet from BacT coming under fire now as well. Monastery now coming under a bit of pressure, and here we go. The bombard cannons also coming out a little bit more mobile, a little bit more agile compared to the trebuchets, meaning that you can micro them out of the way of any sort of return shots from any trebuchets or any other bombard cannons. So really nice idea there from Licks to do that as well. Now, in terms of any other unit choices apart from Siege, I'm not seeing anything. And quite literally just seeing bombard cannons, mangonels, a few scouts here and there, a few throwing axemen, but mainly it's just bombard cannons and trebuchets for the time being, as we can see that BacT is jumping on the bombard cannon wagon as well, and getting a nice, maybe an inadvertent villager pick there, but BacT is starting to feel the pressure now. I'm sure his economic balance, his economic lead doesn't really mean too much if you're not producing military to be able to defend it and actually utilize the archery range now being thrown up with padded archer armor coming in for BacT, which tells me that we will be seeing hand cannons potentially, as well as the same sort of thing, maybe skirmishes, but maybe also hand cannons coming in here for both of these guys as the archery ranges start to pop up now as well. We can see more archery ranges being thrown up for BacT. I'm not sure whether the same can be said for Licks at the moment. He's got one archery range already back at home creating the hand cannons, and one archery range started, only very slightly started on the front. A couple of knights now coming out for BacT. I don't think that would have been a misclick, seeing as though there's two of them, and scale barding armor coming in now for +1 defense as well. But these bombard cannons going absolutely ham, doing work for SY Licks as he manages to pick off a building villager here from the archery range of BacT. And now a little bit of micro, not enough micro there as BacT manages to pick off both of the, oh my god, both of the bombard cannons for SY Licks, and he starts focus firing this castle as well. That was, that zoned him off. Zoned BacT off from this portion of his economy. This castle not being repaired, it's been repaired by one villager, which may as well be none, under fire of 2 bombard cannons on a hill. That castle is going to be going down pretty bloody quickly, in my opinion. Licks selling, and this is where BacT is going to be able to hold on, is going to be able to win the game. If he makes it go to a war of attrition, then BacT is going to be in a really nice position. He's been zoned off his first gold here, but he can fall back to either of these 2 golds, which he has already done. And we can see that he also has the option to push down to this gold here, seeing as though he is nice and stonewalled, as well as this gold here. And he's lucky that he got this wall off actually done quickly enough, because the throwing axemen from Licks actually starting to move around and look like he wants to start pushing into this area. Maybe not push in, but maybe conquer this area of BacT's economy as well. BacT throwing up castles to try and defend his economy, but they're just coming under fire from all the throwing axemen, all the bombard cannons, and all the hand cannons from SY Licks. As that's a lot of villagers going ahead and taking that gold camp. Constructing that gold camp, and that's just because there's no gold back down here for SY Licks. No, but BacT is not giving up without a fight as he brings in his hand cannons with +1 defense as well. What are the upgrades on Licks' hand cannons? Well, they are non-existent, but these hand cannons are going to be doing a really nice amount of damage against these infantry units in the form of their throwing axemen here as well. I'm pretty sure the bonus damage definitely applies for the hand cannons when they're firing upon throwing axemen, which means the hand cannons are a fantastic unit choice against them as well. But here we go, this gold here for BacT, it's not so bad that he's been zoned off it, because like I said, he can fall back to this one, or this one, or this one. But the worst case scenario, or the worst thing about it, is that Licks, for example, cannot take it, and he has access to no other active gold income he's got access to the passive gold income from the relics, but when you're trying to sustain a huge amount of production like this, when you're going for hand cannons, when you're going for bombard cannons, when you're going for trebs, when you're going for throwing axemen, 2 relics, the gold that generates is just not going to be enough at all. And we can see Lick's actually being forced to sell, sell, sell. And as he throws away more or less these units here, these throwing axemen to the hand cannons of BacT, that's not the position that he really, really wants to be in. These trebs, of course, are these trebs trying to cut their way through? Yeah, it looks like these trebs may be trying to cut their way through these trees here, such that they can actually, such that Lix can actually get through and start mining that gold. Maybe a transport would be a good idea, but Lix recognizing the situation and the war of attrition has paid off really, really heavily in BacT's favor as he takes game number 10 and therefore making it, oh, okay, the color switched back, that's annoying, but therefore making it a 6-4 victory for BacT. Now, like I said, that was just going to be a war of attrition once we had once we figured out that where all the gold and all the resources and such were. I noticed it in the early game, but I hadn't got around to saying it. But Lex just had no gold, and you can't fight a gold army with with just trash units, and he just wasn't trading favorably enough and didn't take enough map control early on to be able to push back, or to be able to push BacT back and be able to start taking control of those extra resources that he really needed to be able to win. So BacT played a really, really good game. They probably recognized the situation as well and thought that he had a heck of a lot of gold that he could take, meaning that Lix had none. So all he had to do was just last, 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 and last he did. Took some nice fights and eventually took the game quite convincingly as well. These +1 and Bloodline, oh sorry, these +1 knights coming in at the end and doing a wee bit of damage for their country as well. So well done to BacT, well done to Lix as well. Really, really fun, entertaining set of games. And like I said in the previous video, I will try and start uploading a wee bit more. If you guys have any videos that you'd like me to cast, or any sorts of ideas for content that you want to see, feel free to drop a comment in the section below. But thank you very much everyone for tuning in for this game, for the set of games between these guys. Like I said, I'll try and upload some more over the coming months. But thank you very much, and I'll see you guys when I see you in the next one. Actually, let me just real quickly update the score just so we can see that BacT did actually win it. There we go, 6-4 it is, best of 11, quote unquote, goes to BacT, so well done to him. And there we have it. Thanks very much, guys, and I'll catch you later.